I've always had this thing about how if you plan it, you can get it. And then even starting the business, I just thought to myself, there's nothing that difficult. If, for example, you think about it, I'll just break it down to processes. You think about the Roman Empire, like most people collected taxes, the propaganda and messages, and they didn't have Twitter, they didn't have phones, they didn't even have TV. They had to have a strategy. Just like the platform they were using were different. Yeah. There were strategies. They still collected tax, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then they had like, so for me it was like, if they can do it then with the tools they had, maybe we should just break back to the fundamentals. So again, when things got overwhelming, I'll break it down to a process. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So you trust the process, so you follow on until you get there. You tweak it along the way, because what worked last year might not work today. Or you might need to tweak it to fit in your own sort of like capacity or whatever. But eventually you can get there. You know, so it's not. So it makes it easier, not easy, but easier to kind of cope with.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Against All Odds. My name is Daniel Coker, your regular host, and our guest this week is Timi Phillips. Yep. Timi is the founder and the CEO of Poised Concierge. Is it poisedconcierge.com?
Poisedconcierge.com, yeah.
Yeah, poisedconcierge.com. And some of you might be wondering, what on earth does this lady do? Tell you what, you're in for a treat, you know, because I've been blown away by her story. And Timi, you're welcome to Against All Odds.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to ask you first, I'm going to be a bit naughty. So Timi must be short for something.
Well, it's short for many things. There's a very long version, and there's a other version, and then there's the Timi. So it's either Oluwaduro Timi Leyin, or just Duro Timi, or Timi.
Okay, let's go for Duro Timi.
Yeah, Duro Timi.
I think Duro Timi, I can handle that.
But then my mom even calls me Timi. It all depends. Duro Timi. It all depends. Depends. Right. I tend to know by who calls me Duro Timi. I know other people that I went to secondary school with. Those tend to call me Timi. Went to university with me, you know, stuff like that. So I tend to know when someone says my name, like Julie, I'm like, okay, yeah, we probably went to secondary school together. If I call me Duro Timi.
Okay, Timi, how on earth did you move from being in a project management space to running your own high-end concierge business? Before this episode starts, I'd like to ask a big favor. Your subscription means a lot to us, because the bigger this platform gets, the bigger the guests get. So do me a favor, please click on the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Now let's get back to this episode. I don't get it.
Like I said, it was it was a divine conspiracy. So I was working as a project manager. I like planning, organizing. I used to work as an internal comms, which evolved event planning as well with charities and stuff like that within our sort of site. And then in 2008, I got made redundant. But alongside that, all of that time, my dad was a diplomat. He was a translator, no, interpreter, difference. And so we had a lot of friends that were always sending their kids to come and study here. And I just like organizing stuff. So I ended up having like a list of things that you should know or do if you're coming, and I just helped them plan. So they would tell me, oh, my daughter's coming, can you help me sort out things? So my friends kept telling me, you're doing it on the side, you can still do a business. I was like, hell to the no. Like, are you kidding? I just don't want to have like, seriously. Running your own business is a lot of work, because in my mind, as a project manager, I could just see all the different pieces that made the business. And I was like, the only resources would be me. Okay. And there's no way I don't like stress. So I was like, I'm happy to do it on the side. Yeah. Maybe even, I wasn't even thinking about charging. I was like, I don't mind doing it. If people are calling me and say, like, I want to buy property, where should I go? Okay, I can narrow it down for you. I can even go view a few places for you. Yeah. You know, again, checklist, process, all of that. But then I got made redundant, and a well-meaning friend decided to put my name down for a competition. Okay. Without telling me. And she told me afterwards. She's like, yeah, you're out of work anyways, you've got time. Yeah. This as well apply. I thought, okay, goodness, okay. And then I thought I was being cheeky. I thought I'll ask his other friend that is almost always busy around that time of year because she's an accountant. But she happened to be free, and she helped me put together the application for the competition she put me down for. And I thought I wouldn't get picked, and I got shortlisted. Very upset. So went in, did the presentation, and then at the end I thought, surely they can't. It was like a Dragon's Den type thing, but there was I think 4 judges or 5, I can't remember, and then an audience. And so I presented. I didn't think I was as ready as the others. And then at the end, they call us out, and then they tell us how we did, and then they tell us who won. And there were 3 prizes, and I came second. I was even more furious. Not that I came second, but I won at all. So upset, thinking, oh, for goodness sake, so now what am I going to do? So then they now, so a few weeks later, I got an email saying, time to come pick up the check. Picked up the check. And I was like, oh my God, I've got the check. What am I going to do? Called this other friend that didn't live in the UK then, telling her, can you imagine, I won this prize. So what's it about? And I told her, she's, oh my God, I need your service. And I thought, oh, for goodness sakes, what?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm getting married, I need help. Someone help me shop, help me organize everything when I'm around to get everything that I need. My sisters are coming as well. We need to find bridesmaid dress for them and all of that. And then I thought, okay, she was like, how much do you charge? She's like, I don't even have a name. I mean, I'm here complaining to you about the fact that I won and now I'm forced to start this business that I don't want to start. And then she got off the phone. I was thinking, okay, so what do I even call the name? Then her sister calls me and says, oh my God, I have to turn your own business. I need your help. And I was thinking, okay, what do you need from me? And then she tells me, I'm coming home. I have a house in Surrey. I need you to help me, get a cleaner, help me get someone to come in every day or every other day, I think it was. Get the fridge, put food in the fridge, and also find like summer camp activities for the kids because, I don't know what else to do and everything. So I thought, okay. So how much do you charge? She's like, why are you asking me how much I'm going to charge? I don't have a name. I don't even know how I'm going to charge. So I was kind of forced to start the business that way. So eventually, yes, I was still applying for jobs, but there was nothing happening.
Okay.
And then it just got sucked in.
Okay.
And that was 16 years ago now.
16 years?
Yeah.
My goodness.
So that's kind of how I started. But I've always been, because we've moved a lot, and I have friends that come in, family that come in from all over the place, and then they always seem very overwhelmed with what they're meant to do with the kids. So I always thought, when you come, how about you do this? Okay, if you've got kids, do this. So I always had like a plan. So that's kind of how they would just all ask me. And then I used to I still do. I like getting lost in town. So I'll just get on the bus or drive somewhere and then just discover somewhere. Someone would ask me, oh, do you know somewhere where they should make, I don't know, bespoke shoes? And I randomly know that, mostly because I just know, because I just...
You just know these things.
I just know this because I just walk on the street, go out and then spend the day going from shop to shop. Yeah. And then you just discover, oh, there's this place that does this, oh, there's that. And then I was just, for whatever reason, I just keep that information somewhere. Yeah. And then someone would ask and I'll know. So it felt... Yeah, and I felt the need for the overseas clients coming in was even more because they're here for a short period of time. Mm-hmm. Limited time, definitely. Limited knowledge because it's not my home country. And just having somebody on ground that knows the lay of the land, that is organized. And that's that's why our main clients are non-UK residents. Because, they definitely, it's not always a luxury, it's almost a need because,
Yeah, and understood. I understand you perfectly. So it almost sounds as if your project management mindset, because it sounds to me like you think in terms of steps. You break things down and you simplify life, by looking at it in steps, and that's just the way you're wired. And how do you handle discerning clients? Because the kind of people who need a concierge service are, somebody might say they're fussy, they're too, they're too picky, they're this, they're that, But I find that I deal with a lot of high net worth people as well, and high net worth people are very clear about what they want.
Exactly.
And they know what they don't want.
Yeah.
Okay, and true, it might take them. If I go to a shop, I just see something I like, I buy it, right? But some of these people, it might take them 3 months to find curtains that they want, or this, or it has to be a certain texture, it has to be a certain this, or...
They're not all... So people always wonder, how do you deal with clients? They must be very demanding, as the word is say a lot. And I need them to describe or explain what they mean by demanding. I think everyone's demanding, depending on what it is, depending on what you talk on. There's no one that is easy to live with. Even my mom, my kids. I mean, even I have my thing where I'm thinking, I'd rather you do it this way or this. So everyone has their idiosyncrasy. Do you get what I mean? So I generally go in, and the reason why I love my clients, because the fact they know what they want, is easy for me to tell them if I can or cannot do it. What is possible and what is impossible. What is impossible. I think about alternatives. The fact that they know exactly what they want makes life easier on some level, because then it's a matter of you managing the expectations. So the fact that someone wants something, I always think there's what you want, what's possible, and somewhere in between. Okay. So it's always a case of what could we do, And sometimes someone trying to ask me something, and I'm thinking that's a bit weird. But I was looking to you, thinking, it's not actually impossible. We can do it. Oh, it's a new thing. It might take us a while to figure it out, but again, if we can go to the moon and come back, and people can build pyramid centuries ago, it's not like, do you get what I mean? Like,
it's not a big deal, yeah.
Exactly. And even if it is, we figure it out, I'm sure when the Wright brothers started building planes, there were no planes before that. It was impossible. And there was nothing, there was no precedent before that. So at the end of the day, we'll figure it out. Or it's not possible. And then we'll negotiate with the client and say, well, within this constraint, within this country, for example, it's not possible. Or it's going to take X amounts of weeks. Or these are the alternatives. So as long as and then the fact that somebody is demanding doesn't always mean that they are not, what's the word I'm trying to use? They're not reasonable.
Reasonable, yeah. You can reason with them, yeah.
So there's some, yes, but again, it's just personalities. Like, I have certain things that I like a particular way, and some people will think, oh my God, that's always like, look, you stay on your lane. This is what you like. So for me, I feel if someone tells me I want my room painted pink, okay, it's your room. They're full-grown adult. They know what they want. You don't have to like it. Okay. But some people say, if it was me, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, it's not you. They're paying for it, so why not?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's not okay. And they work hard. So some of my clients have companies in different time zones. The decision they make is going to cost money. If they screw up, it's not just them. The pressure is on. So they're not being, I don't think they're necessarily being ridiculous. They just, and then what makes you happy makes you happy. As long as I'm asking for something illegal, then, Because I work hard. I know when I started, I used to work within the kids and everything. Some weeks I would sleep in an average of 4 hours a night. So now that I can afford it, what if I want someone to come to my house and do my nails every day? It's not a big deal. For somebody else, I think that's a bit, why would she want that? Why not?
Yeah.
So
why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
So
do you get most of your clients by referral, or do you have to sort of pitch for business?
It's a mixture of both. Because referring for clients, it can be trickles. Depending on the kind of clients you have. Some clients are very social, so they tend to refer a lot of clients, while other clients might take years. You've been with you for decades, but you get like 1 or 2 clients from them. Okay. So it depends on how you want to grow. Okay. So we've done a mixture of both. So initially it was word of mouth, because it was easier that way. It allowed me to understand the market, understand our strengths and weaknesses, and determine what services we really couldn't do ourselves, and we had to work with other partners and which ones we could do ourselves. So we had to grow in that, so like more organically, and then as the business grew, and then wanted to do bigger things, and then we had to obviously go and pitch for business and be more proactive, as opposed to sort of like waiting for business to find us. So it's a mixture where we work with some partners. We work with like educational consultants, because a lot of people send their kids here to the UK.
Oh, okay.
And then when they do either secondary school, primary school, university, they'll tend to buy a property. So we will come in and help them to find it and set it up and manage it. So we started working with those as well. We started working with medical practitioners as well. Okay. Because there's so many people that come to have procedures done. There's even more of a need to have someone that knows things, that can look after them for however long they're in town for. So we just started looking at where does the journey start from, and who do we need to talk to along the way to ensure that if they need a service, they know that we're here. So that's kind of.
So it almost sounds as though your line of work, you kind of self-taught, because I haven't heard you say that you went to school to learn how to, arrange furniture in somebody's house, or do this, or color coordinate things. I know you use interior designers and people like that, when you need to, but it sounds to me as though you've kind of figure this out just by being out there?
So I never color coordinate for clients ever. I definitely don't do that.
Okay.
So everyone has their core skills. I never did. I don't even, unless the client tells me very specifically. I am like, even furnitures, I'll recommend they speak to someone that can ensure things are done within a particular context.
Okay.
So even furnitures, I might suggest something. I might take the client out and make suggestions as to where's the best place to go to, but I wouldn't really play the designer role at all. I've never done it.
Okay.
There's certain things. What I'm good at is just because it's one thing to have. So you have people that are very skilled, but execution is a problem.
Okay.
They don't know how to plan the time. They don't know how to communicate with clients. They don't know how to manage expectations. So I have some people that are very skilled at what they do, but they're not very good at managing their time or managing client expectations.
Okay.
Or everything else that comes with execution, as in proper execution, execution that is impeccable or flawless. So that's where I come into play, where I also understand the client. So when people are also not good at communicating with the clients or getting in the client's head, understanding what the client is saying, because different cultures, also different nuances as to two people are saying the exact same thing, but they need to do different things. You know, so understanding all of those things, how to manage them, most importantly, because expectations. Whenever I hire someone, I always talk about two stories about a guy, two people going into a restaurant, same restaurant. One of them goes in, and at the end, they ask them both how the evening was. And the first one is like, it was amazing. The waiter was so attentive. He asked me about my family. It was amazing. The other dude was like, oh my goodness, the waiter just wouldn't shut up. Like, I went in for a meal. I didn't really want anyone to ask me how my day was, how my family was, ask me 20 times how the food was. I just wanted a quiet night to enjoy my meal. So both of them had the exact same service, but one of them would not return to that restaurant ever again. Okay. So those are the differences. It wasn't like, it's just, and those nuances makes the difference between the client really enjoying themselves and I'm saying, no, I'm not working with this person again. So I still stood as a project manager, more or less in that realm, just bringing all the different pieces and creating, systematizing things.
Okay.
Making sure it runs. So, for example, for our home concierge that we manage, which is the home management one, it was, when we first started, we would take on a property, we would do some assessment. Well, we went thorough in this, and the way we are thorough now. Now it's a full-on onboarding process. And that was because we took this house, it was this home, lovely property in North London. And then one day, as it always happens, there's always a burst pipe and there was leak somewhere. And what normally you just find the stopcock and, you know, you're good. We now started searching for the stopcock. We couldn't find it anywhere. It was none of the obvious places. Eventually, it turns out it was outside. In all the years I've been looking at properties, I had never, ever had a property where the stopcock was outside the build. But apparently it was one of those older buildings that were, anyways, and that was one of many stories. So eventually we just thought, we want to take on a property. We need to do a thorough onboarding. We need to understand the house inside out, not just number of windows, how high, whatever. Because that also comes into play when someone says, my window clean, and then no one knows having a window, how high is it, and how high is the window? Because sometimes you go into a house where they have high ceilings. Okay. The company that comes to clean needs to know how high it is, so they can know. They know what those details. That's a ladder, yeah.
And
it's one person or two people. If the chandelier is like high up, the difference between the floor,
Yeah.
So none of those things, but we have to go in more detail, like, how old is the boiler, what's the make of the boiler, when last was it serviced, and then do all of that. And so for me, it was just creating all those processes to ensure that the plumbers, when they came, first of all, we got the right plumbers. And then the plumbers knew, okay, you're coming into like a house that has a boiler that's 10 years old. Maybe the parts are no longer in existence, maybe. So again, my area was just making sure that when we executed, it was well executed. And bringing the right people in as well, and managing the client's expectation, understanding my clients inside out, listening and really listening, listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying.
That's a very important point you've just mentioned there, that it's key to listen.
Yeah.
It's key to listen because listening reveals a lot, about services you can provide, about people's preferences, because a lot of times people just keep talking and never listen and wonder why they don't get a business or people are not happy with them and all that. Yeah. So Timi, just a bit of context about your background. Obviously from Nigeria, and Nigerians just don't have a concept of limitation. They don't have a concept of they have this thing of why not? Why not? You know, if somebody can do it, why not me? You know, and I've found since starting this podcast that many of the people that I talk to, the common thread, even though they're all from diverse backgrounds, the common thread is a way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody might see a problem, you know, and respond to it in a particular way. Somebody might be laid off or be made redundant and then respond to it in a particular way. Okay, somebody might be laid off and then accidentally build a concierge business, okay, which is your story.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about this Nigerian mindset that makes people, you know, make people from that part of the world so resilient and daring and, you know, go where no man has been kind of mindset? Because I don't know. You're the first person of color I know who has a concierge business.
Yeah, that's true. I can't speak to Nigerians because my Nigerian friends don't think I behave like a Nigerian. I wasn't born in Nigeria. Okay. I moved to Nigeria and I thought these people are insane. These people are crazy. Like, what the hell is wrong with them? So yeah, they can be quite a lot. I don't like being busy. So one of the things I tell people is that I hate being busy. I don't feel the need to be busy. I don't like saying that I'm busy. And when I say I'm busy, like that means I'm doing something wrong. I don't feel like I need to be busy.
Okay.
Why? For what reason? So I don't know. So I can't say that I can't speak to Nigerians because I still haven't quite figured them out. And even though I'm Nigerian, I speak as though I'm not Nigerian. So I was brought up in Togo. Lived there the first 13 years. Moved to Nigeria when I was 13. Lived in Nigeria for 6 years. Went to Cote d'Ivoire for 2 years. Then came to the UK.
You speak French?
Yeah.
Fluent?
Well, yeah. The thing is that I speak French, but I don't speak it that often anymore.
Okay.
Can you imagine? So I learned Spanish. I think in Spanish quicker than I do in French now, which is weird.
Okay. Should we switch this interview to French?
Non. Je vais parler le franglais, pas l'anglais. Pas le français, man. Okay. Parce que mon français est vraiment, comment dire, very, very...
The French is good. I like
the French is good, but it's almost like the switch doesn't happen immediately like it used to.
Okay.
But if I speak Yoruba, I speak Yoruba often because since I'm Nigerian, all my cousins are Nigerians. Yeah. My parents are both Nigerian. So we're brought up understanding English, not really speaking it. Speaking Ewe and Mina and Ewe is similar. And speaking English and Yoruba. So we speak French and Yoruba at home. Okay. But we wouldn't really speak English. I would understand it, but I wouldn't speak it because it wasn't something we spoke at home. And however, with my cousins, I would speak Yoruba. So that's something that I can switch from English to Yoruba a lot quicker. I can switch to Spanish because I have a teacher I speak to every week.
Oh, okay. Is that for business or do you have...
I just enjoy the language and I thought... Because we come from a family where we all speak at least 3 languages. My dad was an interpreter.
Oh, okay.
And my sister, she studied German, Portuguese, French and English.
Okay.
My mom speaks French, English, Yoruba and a bit of Ewe.
Okay.
So we all speak. My sisters, the twins... they all spoke at least 2 or 3 languages as well.
Okay. So
I just love languages.
Okay.
So, but back to the Nigerian, what makes us resilient? What makes... I can't speak to Nigerian, but I can speak to myself. So I've always... So when I was young, at I think age 9, I organized my first birthday party. Okay. It took me a year.
Wow.
Because the first one I did, I asked my mom wanted to buy a birthday party, and then she organized something, and I thought, is this supposed to be a party? This is not a party. Right? So when I asked again, she didn't look very enthusiastic, so I thought, you know what, it's fine. I'm the one that wants a party, so I'll figure it out. So the whole thing started, it took like a year. So I first had my that time my lesson teacher. We always had a lesson teacher that would come in and help me write my invitation. And then I used to draw, so I drew like a tulip and I did the invitation. And I got my sister to do like a map because everyone I was going to invite was coming from my school. So I figured the common place were going to come from was my school, so I could do direction from my school to my house because we lived sort of far away.
Yeah.
So she didn't know what she was doing. So everyone played a role. They were playing a role out of like a bigger picture.
Okay.
So got my invitation card, got the design, got my sisters to help me with the map, direction from the house, including like actual designing the map. And I was thinking, how will you kind of like do like a direction from school home? Thinking maybe it was an assignment from school. I don't know. She did that. Then I was saving money all this time. Saving the money. I got on my cousin to do a mixtape. You know mixtapes?
Yeah.
Mixtapes good as deal. Mixtape. So I got all the mixtape, Boys to Men, all of that. I think was it Boys to Men? Can't remember. It was like a lovely, well done mixtape. My cousin did a good job. And then I got somebody with my mom to get me sweets, and like a few weeks before, I got baguettes, I got croissants, I got all the things that kids like. No rice, none of those things that my mother would have cooked.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think on the morning I told her, she saw me arranging chairs and stuff. She was like, oh, what's going on? I was like, oh, I've got friends coming out for my birthday. She almost had a heart attack thinking, what? I said, how many of them? I always my list. And I was like, oh, there are about 20 of them coming. So the poor woman, I think she just thought, what make rice, chicken, beans. So by the time the kids started kind of like they descended on us, she had done the rice and everything, but she could not believe that I had all the sweets, all the baguettes, all the whatever. She was stunned. So I've always had this thing about how if you plan it, you can get it. And then even starting the business, I just thought to myself, there's nothing that difficult. Actually, there's nothing that complicated about doing stuff. If, for example, you think about it, I'll just break it down to processes. You think about the Roman Empire, like most people collected taxes, the propaganda and messages, and they didn't have Twitter, they didn't have phones, they didn't even have TV. They had to have a strategy. Just like the platform they were using was different. So they would have been very strategic about where they put in, if they wanted to put the fear of the Lord in people, they would make sure they put all the head they beheaded where everyone was going to the market. So that way, when everyone's leaving, they'll put on them, and they know people will exaggerate the story. Yeah. So by the time they go to the village center, on the way they think all the people they kill, they're thinking the Roman Empire is really, really vicious. Yeah. And by the time they go back home, so there were strategies. They still collected tax, right? Yeah. And then they had like, so for me it was like, if they can do it then with the tools they had, maybe we should just break back to the fundamentals. So again, when things got overwhelming, I'll break it down to a process. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So you trust the process. So you follow on until you get there. You tweak it along the way because what worked last year might not work today. Or you might need to tweak it to fit in your own sort of like capacity or whatever. But eventually you can get there. So it's not... So it makes it easier, not easy, but easier to kind of cope with. And then you don't worry too much about, well, like not always, you don't worry too much about what will happen, how it would happen. You focus on the energy to do it well today and knowing that you're building the foundation for tomorrow and then step by step. And you screw up, and that's something I had to learn and not identify with screw ups. And you just keep going. What other options do you have?
So what's the most challenging situation you found yourself in, like in your business career, in terms of like managing a property and something goes wrong? Because I'm into property as well, and all kinds of things go wrong. Always. I had a incident in one of my properties where, like a year and a bit ago, I got a call in the middle of, in the evening. It was a burst pipe. The whole house was flooded and had gone to the next house. And this property was all the way up north in Liverpool, and I live in Hertfordshire. How do I drive there? And there's a risk of electrocution and all kinds of sorts. Anyway, but I had to deal with it in some way, shape, or form. And what's the worst thing that you had to deal with?
Funny enough, it wasn't even the business, but the business was one of them. The first thing is to keep calm. Again, I look into I always look at outward to see how other people are coping. So I'm thinking, if he's not a heart surgeon, I'm not the one about to die. So therefore, if they can stay calm, then what exactly is my problem? First responders are going in. You think about firemen going into a house where they don't know what's really happening. They can stay calm, then I can stay calm too. Right? Okay. So that's what I think. It's like, if it's not a final thing, at best, someone's going to be upset. Emotions run for a few minutes. Eventually, they'll get over it, right? But eventually, they'll move on. That's not a problem. But me losing my, proverbial whatever, it's not going to help, because you then go from being able to think logically to going into like survival mode.
Okay.
Like you're thinking with your lizard brain.
Yeah.
You don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So someone's dying, I'm always fascinated by, ER, all this, the A&E, how they deal, because there's like a lot of people at different levels of problems, they have to triage every time. What's the biggest problem? And they have to stay calm, because once they lose it, your heart pumps, your brain goes for flight to flee, you can't think. So one of the things I had to learn was like, calm the hell down. And it was the biggest one wasn't business. So I had my first sister got diagnosed with breast cancer almost like months into me starting the business. So there was all of that emotional stuff happening. The kids, she moved to the UK with the kids when she was diagnosed. So she had a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, and then went through all of that. Unfortunately, she passed away. So suddenly I was a mother of 2. So then all the things that I could do, I couldn't do. But I had to prioritize. I had to determine what was important and what wasn't important. Did that mean the business grew slowly up? Yes, it did. Did I sometimes wish I could have done it and build the business at that same rate? Yeah, but I don't regret the fact that I spent time with the family. And then my dad passed away from cancer as well, and then my sisters, the twins, got diagnosed as well, like in 2016 with breast cancer as well. So the whole story started all over again. And managing those emotions, knowing, it puts stuff into perspective. If you can get over losing pretty much more than half your family, the flood in the house is not going to kill anybody. So you learn to just, because at that time there's only so many things the brain could cope with. So I had to determine that, we're going to figure it out, and how do I avoid this happening again? So with the flood, that's how all the systems in terms of the onboarding came into play, where how do we make sure that if something happens, we have something in plan. Like I had a surgery recently, and they already did my blood test to find out if they need the blood to have, because if something happens, that's the when they're thinking, oh my God, we need blood. Where's blood? So there's a contingency plan you have to think about. So I was thinking, okay, so we've had this before. What would you have done differently? So for every property we manage, we have we do the onboarding, and then we know what supplier or what partner we need to attach to that house. It's not when we're in the middle of it that we need that we're not looking for a plumber. We already have a plumber. We know first of all what's in the house. So when something happens, we know most likely is this system. So we even know who to call. Because if you have I don't know, plumbing in the house, underfloor heating, what kind of underfloor heating you have, how old is the plumber, is it combi boiler, is it, all of those things play into you figuring out what, and then where is the stopcock? At the very least, you have to tell them where it is. While I'm on the phone, I'm like, it's downstairs, at least that we could do. Okay. They're like, now it's safe. Okay, what next? Like, you might not have hot water for now, but it's okay. No one's going to die. It's just going to be super inconvenient. But that's life. Life is generally quite inconvenient. You learn very quickly that you don't control the universe. So when it happens, it's like, Timi, sometimes I'm like, Timi, we're panicking now. It's not working. We need to kind of step away from it. No, don't panic. Okay. Imagine you're in a surgery. You can't panic when there's blood coming out. So think of surgery. Think of yourself as a surgeon right now. What do you need to deal with? This heart has stopped beating, it's bleeding, leave the blood. Let's get the heart pumping first. So it just helps me when I'm getting really bad. I'm thinking, is anyone gonna die? No. Okay. If it's who can we call? If there's a danger, can we call? Maybe we can call 999. Who knows? Because sometimes firemen will come if they think there's So there's so many ways that sometimes when we panic, we just can't think of solutions. Okay. And the situation is sometimes it's not as dire.
Okay.
And even if it is, panicking just makes it feel more dire. Worse,
yeah.
Because you can't even think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you just add more stress. You add like a headache to a headache you've already got. Yeah. So the one thing I had to learn with the sisters, with everything, was if I can deal with loss and I could get over it, maybe not get over it, but so learn to live with it. And that is a final thing. Having a burst pipe or not, it's not final. It's just a bump in the road for the meantime. Yeah. And is it going to be inconvenient? Yeah. Is it going to cost money? Yeah. Is it going to be a bit stressful? Yeah. But only stressful for so long. But how stressful it is how I respond to it. So the fact that it's actually stressful doesn't mean I need to get stressed. Okay. And it's a muscle I had to build. So I still get caught up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like calm 24/7. But when it happens, I recover quicker from going down that rabbit hole of, oh my God, you just calm down, try and figure out what's the biggest problem that we need to solve now. The clear and present danger. Okay, there's a burst pipe, is leaking through the fire, through the light. Okay, so we need to make sure maybe we need to just at least stop the water from coming in, make sure it's secure, get the plumber, electrician.
Okay.
And again, because you already got the electrician and the plumber, they already know the house. Yeah. Even if they don't know the house, we already know, we have the information on file.
You have a plan.
Exactly. So again, it was every bump in the road is either a way to do better next time or just learning to stay calm. I think staying calm really, for me, is a key problem.
Yeah, and I get that chilled vibe from you. I mean, just listening to you, I was like, this lady is so chilled.
Chill. Oh yeah. So it was, aren't you panicking? I'm like, okay, so when we finish packing and then what? So now we're all panicked. Like, what difference has it made? Like, so how do people say, don't you worry? I'm like, I worry, but just out of curiosity, what's the return on investment? Don't worry. So when you finish worrying, and then what happens?
I like that. That. Timi, what inspires you?
In what way? What do you mean?
What gets you out of bed in the morning? What really, where does the drive come from?
My main motivation is life should be enjoyed, not endured. So I wake up thinking, how am I going to enjoy today? How am I going to make today enjoyable? It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's that cup of coffee. Maybe I should have that slice of lemon drizzle cake. Or just, I don't know, I try not to overthink it. Mine is just to enjoy this life, however shape or size it comes in, because that's probably what drives me. My kids, even though they're my biological kids, but my kids, my friends, people that I interact with. I think what probably inspires me is how to make life that much easier, so I can laugh at the end of the day or every second. That's what. Everything else is fluff, I think. It's those memories you can create with people that makes it fun. So like when I travel, even whenever I was like the people's name, the waiter's name, get their stories, it's those interaction. At the end of the day, when I travel, I've been to a lot of museums. Not to say they're not all different, but they're all still museums. People's stories are very fascinating.
Yeah.
So how can make clients' life easier? But making life simpler is the thing, because we've only got one life, and there's only going to be one 15th of March 2024. When it's over, there's no do-over. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm only going to be 41 once. Yeah. There's no do-over.
Yeah. That's very, very interesting perception that you have of life. So, as we wrap up this conversation, what do you think about this podcast and what we're trying to do, and why did you agree to come on it?
I like the name, Against All Odds, and I think I wanted to debunk the fact that, business owner, oh my God, I want to be like you, and I'm like, are you sure do you want to walk in the shoes I walked? I don't think so. But I think I wanted to sort of share my story, my perception of how to do life, whether it's great, whether it's good, whether it's bad. How do you then do it when everything just seems like it's really not working out? Because it's not always going to be rosy. But how you react to it is the only thing you can control. Everything else is out of your control. So it's sort of like how making a conscious decision to be content. You're not always going to be happy, but you can be joyful. And sometimes you have to look around to figure out what you can be happy about or for or whatever. And I think for me it was like, how do you carry on against all odds? Is to be happy in the now, as opposed to waiting till when I make that money, or when I get married, or when I buy that house, or when I have kids, or when I do this. Because once you have those kids, then you're going to be up all night. Because for the first few years, they don't sleep on time, or they don't sleep at all. And then there's laundry. And then suddenly you're thinking, I wish I had a cleaner. Then you have the cleaner, and then you realize you make more money. You want that bigger house, and now there's a lot more house to clean. So it's like, if you're content in the now, you wouldn't get to that place where you get to the top and you realize, oh, okay, the view is nice, but it's it,
Yeah.
So, for me, it was just sort of like, how do you go against all odds? It's by determining to be happy in the now. Okay. Not waiting till tomorrow or even an hour's time. Okay. Just enjoy the fact that, like, when my sister was ill and we were all at home, we had to move together because that's where we could help each other. You know, as much as the circumstances that led to us being together wasn't ideal, it was time I would never have had otherwise. You know, the fact that my sister passed away also meant a different perspective. That meant decision making on some areas of prioritizing family became easier because I understood the cost of not doing so. So for me, I had to look at the bright side, you know, and apply those things right now. So like, I'll have friends, I'll message them now and say, just to let you know, I appreciate you, because God forbid anything happens, and I wish I told them, you know. So that's sort of why I came, because I thought the odds might be against you, but you determine how you react and how you decide to, you know, take those odds. You can let it kill you, or, you know, say, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna enjoy whatever this is. When I was broke and I only had a few outfits, I was like, it's easier to get dressed in the morning. When you only got 2 outfits, you don't spend that much time trying to figure out which one should I wear today. But when you have a lot of outfits, so you're like 2 hours later, you still haven't figured it out.
Timi, I've enjoyed having this conversation with you. We have a tradition on this podcast where we give our guests the opportunity to dedicate the episodes they feature on to anyone or any group of people, or any number of individuals of their choice. And obviously not 100 people, otherwise we're here all evening. But who would you like to dedicate this podcast to?
Oof.
You can look into the camera for that.
That is difficult. Oh gosh.
I put you on the spot there.
Yeah, I know, right? I would say probably just people that have journeyed with me. They know themselves. They've been there with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then those that have sewn into me, like my sister, my dad, my mom, and my family. They've been rocks, you know. So yeah. But yeah, people that have journeyed with me.
Fantastic. Timi, once again, thank you so much for the time and for the privilege of this very insightful conversation. I've got a lot to go away and learn, you know, about how to stay calm when everything around you is going to pieces. And I'm sure many of our viewers will also have learned so much. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd like you to like this episode, leave some comments, share and subscribe. As you can see, our channel is growing. The guests, we have a wide variety of guests. And you know what? We're not even started yet. We're just you know, taking it off. So please help us to grow this platform by telling people about other people about us. And together, you know, somebody's going to listen to a story and realize that they can do well, they can bounce back against all odds. So until we meet next week, thank you very much. Timi, thank you.
Thanks for having me.